Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Last episode we had the Tale of the Lonely Ghost, which was funny but sad and had one of the most annoying characters so far in the franchise. I mean, I'm only 3 episodes in, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be more annoying characters, but just from the year since I very first watched this show, Beth has always stuck in my mind as just really irritating. But overall it was a good episode, I quite enjoyed it. This episode is the tale of the Twisted Claw. There's a couple of interesting things about this. First of all, what I didn't realise until I was listening to a podcast about the tale of the Phantom Cab was that the tale of the Twisted Claw was filmed first. Now I know a lot of shows film out of order, but it was filmed first as a one-off kind of thing for YouTube, for Nickelodeon. I don't know if they were doing like some sort of horror thing for Halloween, but they filmed like a one-off episode of this show, and I think it did really well, so they ended up making more of it. So I'm interested to see why it's now episode 4 rather than episode 1. I'm going to guess maybe they filmed it and the Midnight Society were just already a thing in episode 4. That was just, they didn't want to introduce all these new characters. Like, when we had Frank coming in as a new member of the group, they probably just had it as the Midnight Society were just a group that did this thing. And when they decided to make it into a full show, they wanted to maybe change it to have a member coming in to kind of act part of like the audience coming in, if that makes any sort of sense. So I'm going to assume that's kind of the structure that we're going to have. But I don't know. I mean, there could be some interesting changes because it was filmed quite a while before the rest of them, so we'll have to wait and see about that. And another interesting thing is it's, I think from a memory, it's a take on a very old story about, I think it's the tale of the, is it the monkey paw? So it's a take on that. But yeah, so we'll have to see what kind of crazy turns it takes. Let's jump into the tale of the Twisted Claw. Okay, we're either starting inside a story, or this is like the Midnight Society, like one of the members. Looks like it's the story.
Not again.
Oh, you'd shit yourself, wouldn't you?
I hate that dream.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, excellent. Ooh, a cliffhanger. I love it.
No, cliffhangers are
Yeah,
bad.
but I mean, what about tonight? It's almost lights out and we haven't had a full story yet.
Hey, I don't see
Oh,
anyone
so
else
Frank is
jumping
here.
in.
So yeah, they must have filmed it as just like a, here's the group.
I've got
And then when they did the first episode as a different thing, they wanted to
woke you up.
have a new member coming in.
You haven't told one in a long time, David.
Yeah.
But David just did
I've
the
been
last
working on
one.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story.
Yeah, there's a slightly different feel to it, because it was filmed obviously so far before. He's still got some of the same kind of characters, but
It was
like
the
he
night
hasn't
before
sat in that
Halloween.
fancy chair.
The night of tricks.
Just a few little changes at the natural
night they
campfire
call-
area. Hilarious. I never like people who do this kind of stuff. So it's like it's random people's property and like, oh, what's the point? Dickheads.
Let's go someplace else. What's the matter? Afraid the witch is gonna get you? No such thing.
That's a nice house, isn't it?
Then let's do it.
He was always looking for adventure. And on that mischief night, he found it.
Well, that's not going to end well.
What are you doing, Dipmon? She might hear us. Sorry.
I think she already knows that you're there, boys. Whatever you're gonna do, it ain't gonna end well. Poor old woman. I shouldn't call her old, really. Poor woman.
Come on.
You could have blinded her. Oh. They said before that she's a witch. I thought that maybe like that was just like a joke. Do you like when there's a crazy old lady that lives on the street when you're a kid and you think she's a witch? But But that cackle, she may well be a witch. I never really went out much for Halloween when I was a kid. I think I went out a couple of times. I don't remember what I dressed up as. I'll ask my mum and dad, see if they remember.
It's getting old. Let's go
But Halloween's
home.
not as big in the UK as it was, as it is in America
Are
or
you bent?
Canada. I do always enjoy stories that take place at Halloween. I don't know why there's just something just naturally creepy just because it's Halloween.
Yes?
I like how she opens it like that now.
Come in.
She's not even cleaning the vase up, lazy bitch.
So glad someone finally came. I
She's just straightening that rug out as well.
Tell you what, because you boys were the only children nice enough to come and see me on Halloween, I'm going to give you a special treat.
Get out, boys. Get the fuck out while you can.
There's nothing to be scared of. The vase. She didn't even clean it up.
That's what I said.
I've got something special for two very special boys. It's the claw of a vulture.
Ew.
The vulture's claw.
It's real. It's made of wood.
Oh.
They say it's charmed, and whoever has it will get 3 wishes.
Don't be stupid, boys.
Peace or you must take it. I won't take no for an answer. There you go. Just one thing. Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. 3 wishes? Right. Yeah? Well, I wish we can go home and lose this stupid trick-or-treating. Whoa! What's the matter? It
First
moved.
wish. How come in all these
Like
stories,
your
when there's like 3 wishes,
Now, can we try and get
someone
some more
always
candy?
makes an accidental wish? It happens every time. Hi, the Purge.
Looky here. Some trick-or-treaters.
You get some candy, boys?
Candy's bad for you. Gives you cavities.
What's happening? Why are they all dressed up like semi-fan of the opera?
Knife for that.
Also like they're about to go out on the Purge.
You're gonna live long enough to eat your stupid candy.
But they did have to lose the candy, which they have done. But there's no way they're going to outrun people on bikes, surely. They're 2 young boys. These are like clearly teenagers, if not slightly older. And they want to beat up 2 young kids. Fuck off. Pardon my French. Oh, I want that jacket.
Well, it's gonna give me something I've wanted since I was a kid. Bostic. Field days this afternoon.
You want Bostic? Oh
And I
well.
wanna be Bostic in the 600.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Whatever your preference is,
Nobody
that's fine.
beats Bostic until now. Someone's gotta shut him down. Oh man, don't do it. I wish
Why is he holding him like this?
it could be Bostic in the 600. Whoa! It moved. I
Yeah, no
told
shit.
you that thing's alive.
I've got to say, the 2 boys in this are quite likeable. You tend to find, at least in every episode so far, there's one unlikable semi-main character. So
He thinks
Buzz.
he's so good.
Josh, Beth.
He is.
But these 2 are actually alright. Like,
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
know there's like he's a bit mouthy at times, but they both actually seem alright, which is quite refreshing. Why is the tree growling? Oh, okay. Doggy! You can't just jump over that dog. Well, that works. So is that 2 wishes down, or do they have 3 wishes each?
He tripped, right? It was an accident. These things happen, right? He didn't just trip. It was the dog. Where's the dog?
It's weird, like he saw the dog and
They
the
each
runner saw the
step
dog.
one way. Dougie, get a grip. There's nothing
I
magical
love his
about
t-shirt
it.
though.
Yeah? What about those guys
Shit.
that tried to beat us up?
The 90s had
Where'd
so
they
much
come
better
from?
clothes than we have now.
If Grants were here, he'd know what to do. Dougie, enough!
But this
What if
dude's
my
got more my
parents
style,
find out
which is
I have
just
his clothes? I'll be Grant
oversized
for life.
hoodies.
But my folks, I wish you'd just lose your folks. Ah!
Uh-oh. Oh no, they've been in an accident. Oh shit.
Don't answer it.
I'm guessing they get 3 wishes each then. Because that would be it otherwise.
Have some bad news for you, son. Your parents have been in a car accident. They've been taken to the hospital, and I'm afraid
No!
That took a dark turn.
Wished it!
He's literally about to say they might die.
Then do something! I wish Grants were here. He knows what to do. Ah!
That's 2 wishes he's made. And they've both been accidents.
Dougie,
Get a fucking grip of yourself,
my
lad.
father's dead. You don't think...
It kind of reminds me of, if any of you have watched Buffy, after, well, spoiler alert for season 5 of Buffy, after Buffy's mom dies, they do a spell to bring her back, but
That's
it kind
Grants'
of
car.
brings back
It's
as a
here.
zombie, or it
No!
hints at that.
I don't wanna
We never
do
actually
this.
see her, never see her properly,
We gotta wish it away!
but
No!
you've kind of brought her back to life as a zombie rather than
I wish!
back to life.
The wishes are bad! Dougie, he's dead! He may be a skeleton.
Teach me how to doggy, teach me how to doggy, teach me how to doggy, teach me how to doggy.
Oh, man.
Don't answer the door.
Wish it away, Dougie, please! No, I'm gonna make the wish we should have made from the start. We're sorry we broke Miss Chloe's vase, and we wish it never, ever happened.
Okay. But this is where you went to like paradox territory.
I got her.
So if they'd never brought the vase, it had never happened. How is this happening? Because it never happened. How do they know about the wishes? Because it never happened.
Sorry, we forgot our keys.
Again, if I didn't take them, they wouldn't get taken. Hi, kid.
Still can't believe they actually pretty much killed the parents off. That is dark.
So,
Really
you guys
dark.
are okay?
Hang out, guys. I say we raid the fridge for some ice cream.
Freezer. You shouldn't keep ice cream in the fridge because it will melt. Uh-oh. She
What does
remembers.
it say? Trick or treat.
All they could hear was the sound of the wind blowing through the trees.
Dance Macabre. One of my
Was
favourite
it
pieces of music. Classical music.
Sly witch.
I enjoyed that. That was good.
I declare this meeting of the Midnight Society closed.
Okay, so that was the tale of the Twisted Claw. In terms of it being filmed first, there's a few kind of differences. I guess with the Midnight Society themselves, you can tell around the campfire that it's slightly different from what it is in normal episodes. So normally the person that tells the story would be sat on like a big kind of stone chair situation. And on this one they were just sat on logs and there was no kind of obvious place for someone to tell the story to sit. They were just sat wherever they were. And normally at the end of each episode they'd put out the fire and then go away. And this one they just stayed there. Or at the start of the episode they would be coming into the campfire area. So it's kind of, now that I know that this was filmed on its own before the rest of the series, it kind of makes sense why there'll be some sort of differences. As a kid I probably would never have picked up on it whatsoever. Other than the fact that it started in a random story, which was like a minute long or something. And then it was a cliffhanger and they went on to another story, which I don't think they ever do again in the series. Usually you only have one story. And even though Tale of Laughing in the Dark, we started in the story, this one, the very beginning with the boy in the bedroom, was different. But again, if it was filmed as a one-off, it makes sense to have this whole, these kids meet up, they tell each other different horror stories, and it kind of works in that way. It feels a bit weird having it as the 4th episode, because it's a slightly different format from the rest of the season. If they'd have put it first, it would have made more sense why it was different. But I guess the reason that they did Phantom Cab first is because they wanted to introduce the Midnight Society in more detail, so they had someone being initiated into the group, which was Frank, who in this episode was already a member. The actual story itself was fun. I remember as a kid not overly liking this episode, and there's a few I can know the first 3 seasons a bit better than the rest of the show. There's still a lot of episodes, I've read episodes, because I've got a list of all the episode titles, and there's still some that I look at and I'm like, not a clue. But there's a few that I'm already like, oof, like I didn't love it. But for me, rewatching this one, it's actually getting my hopes up because I enjoyed this one more this time than I ever have before. It was just fun. It was nice. I think watching it, even though I don't watch them all in one day or anything like that, watching the last 3 episodes and having a different sort of relationship between these 2 boys was nice because there wasn't really a bully in a relationship. Yeah, there was points where, I'm sure he was called Kevin, the dude with the baggy hoodies who made the wish about the parents going away. He got a bit aggressive, like, in the house because he didn't want to admit to what he'd done because he wanted to keep the medal. But on the most part, they were just mates. And yeah, it was a bit of peer pressure. Well, you're not a coward, come do this, come do this. But that's kind of like normal friend things when you're kids. So it was nice to have friends that were kind of going through it together rather than just like a brother that hates another brother or a bully and a girl that hates her. You know, which is nice. It was a bit frustrating that 2 of the wishes from the main dude were made by accident. Like I said when I watched it, it's a trope that always happens in these shows when there's wishes. A wish 99 times out of 100 will get made by mistake. Because I go, oh, well, I wish you'd do this. And it's like, oh no, I've made a wish. And I didn't mean to. And the main dude did it twice. Like, you should know better. After the first time, you should know better. But all 12 that ended well. It obviously all turned out well in the end. But again, this is where I struggle to, because I don't read up on like paradoxes and time lines and the scientific things about time travel and stuff. But if they'd never made the wishes in the first place, if they'd never broken the vase in the first place, they never would have made the wishes because they never would have got the claw. So how did they remember it all? It's like, I recently watched the film Wishmaster on Netflix. And essentially that's the same sort of thing. An accident happens at the very beginning of the film that releases this crystal that has a djinn inside. And this woman basically makes wishes. And eventually, at the end of the movie, and lots of people have died, she makes a wish that the accident at the beginning never happened. But then the timeline gets reversed, so we go back to the beginning, the accident doesn't happen, and the djinn stays trapped in its thing. And that's it, it carries on in the new timeline. So to me that makes sense. Where my confusion usually lies is when they kind of wish it never happened, but they still remember it, because they're like, how do you remember it if it never happened? It's weird, like, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. I get why the witch remembered, because she's a witch. She's got powers, and it kind of makes sense. If anybody watches this reaction, and you're good at, like, science fiction timelines and stuff like that, write in the comments below and let me know your thoughts, or your theories, or kind of a bit more of the science of it, because I know there is tons of stuff out there to read, but it just confuses my poor little brain. Oh, my hair's a mess. But yeah, it just confused me a little bit. Oh, I've just remembered, what the hell was with those kids, those punks with the masks on? What was that about? That was stupid. That was stupid. I just thought it felt really out of place in the episode. I get it was Halloween, but they were all clearly teenagers wearing these weird masks. And basically trying to beat up little kids that were trying to get candy. Fuck. Okay, I just had a quick search, and the actual original story, The Tale of the Monkey's Paw, was written in 1902 by W. Jacobs. And that's the kind of story that I remember, which is essentially the same story of what we've just seen, which is someone gets a monkey's paw and they get 3 wishes. So although it's a very cliche tale in some ways, because I've seen it on this, I've seen it on other shows before, it was fun. I mean, for a one-off Halloween episode or something that they're going to film, I understand why they picked on a story that was already done, because it's a classic tale. It's a tale that kids might not know, and so it's like a fun kind of cautionary, be careful what you wish for tale, and how they never should have basically sprayed that woman in the first place. although thinking about it, they wish that they never broke the lady's vase. But they never wish that they didn't spray the lady in the face. So technically, the wishes could have still happened. I'm going to get confused with all the timelines and stuff, so let's just leave that in the back. But yeah, as a one-off episode that they filmed, I can understand why they chose this story. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It's simple. It doesn't take a lot of concentration. In terms of scariness, the only kind of creepy bit, I'd say elements of the granddad that came out of the car. We never saw him, but just the idea of what he could look like and what he could be, and the fact that he's been resurrected, but as a zombie or a ghost, that mental image can always be sometimes scarier than what you actually see. Which is why I said with Zebo the Clown in episode 2, it was scarier when he was coming after the boy, because you didn't see him, and the only time we actually ever saw him was in the attraction. So yeah, that was my reaction to The Tale of the Twisted Claw. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Did you watch this when it came out? Because it'd be fun to speak to people who actually watched it when it was on TV in the first place. Like, I probably watched it. It must have been on repeats, because it would have been on TV when I was 2. So I must have watched it. I think I was watching it around when season 5 and 6 were airing. So I was probably about 6 or 7. As always, my name is Scott. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. I'll see you all in episode 5, The Tale of the Hungry Hounds. Bye, guys.